Okay, so a big argument for this case is maturity, and that being 18 means you're more mature, and versus being 16. And I will refute this by proving that just because someone is older than another person doesn't mean they're necessarily more mature. And I'll also prove that the reason that young drivers are getting into accidents is related to experience, not maturity or age. So my first refutation is age doesn't necessarily mean maturity, and I found an article titled "Is 16 Too Young to Drive?" from USA Today, and it says new findings from brain researchers at the National Institute of Health explain for the first time why efforts to protect the youngest drivers usually fail. The weak link, what's called the executive branch of the teen brain, the part that weighs risks, makes judgments, and controls impulsive behavior. Scientists at the National Institute of Health campus in Bethesda, Maryland, have found that this vital area develops through the teenage years and isn't fully mature until age 25. One 16-year-old's brain might not be more developed than another 18-year-old's. This proves that age doesn't necessarily mean maturity, because each person's brain grows at a different rate. Maturity is a subject that is too variable to be built around a law, whereas the driver's experience is concrete and measurable. Now I will show you that experienced drivers cause accidents, not age. From the same article that I found at usatoday.com titled "Is 16 Too Young to Drive a Car?" it said most fatal crashes with 16-year-old drivers involve driver errors, especially the kind most common among novice drivers. So this article is saying that 77% of crashes involve driver errors most common among novice drivers. And the dictionary definition of a novice is a person new to a field or activity, which is a beginner. So if it's true that 16-year-olds account for a lot of accidents in the United States, the cause of these accidents are related to experience. If we raise the driving age to 18, then 18-year-olds will be the novice drivers, and then they will be the age group with the most number of fatal car crashes. So I've just proven that inexperienced drivers cause accidents. Now I'll provide information to show you that 18-year-old drivers can actually be more inexperienced than 16-year-old drivers. What I found from the California Department of Motor Vehicles website said in order for an 18-year-old to get their license, all they have to do is get their permit. Then right away they're allowed to test for their license. This means an 18-year-old driver doesn't go through a 6-month period with their permit, and they don't take 6 hours of driver's training. This shows a new 18-year-old driver is less experienced than a new 16-year-old driver. The maturity acquired from the 2 years of being alive does not compare to the experience that a driver needs to be safe behind the wheel. And to support my statement, which was 18-year-old drivers are less experienced, I found a fact that shows the number of 18-year-old drivers getting into crashes is rising, while the number of 16-year-old drivers getting into crashes is decreasing. In an article titled "Fatal Car Crashes Drop for 16-Year-Olds and Rise for Older Teens" from nationalpublicradio.com, it said, the Journal of American Medical Association found that tougher licensing laws have led to 1,348 fewer fatal car crashes involving 16-year-old drivers, but during the same period, fatal car crashes involving 18-year-old drivers increased. They were behind the wheel in more than 1,086 fatal accidents. Another quote from the same article says states have made the licensing requirements and restrictions on nighttime driving. The states have made the licensing process more rigorous in many ways. Longer permits, driver's ed requirements, and restrictions on nighttime driving and carrying fellow teenage passengers. Experts say all of these requirements give teenagers the experience they need on the road. So the article is saying that the reason 16-year-olds are getting into less accidents is because of the experience that they receive from their permit period, while 18-year-olds are getting their licenses in around 2 weeks and have no experience behind the wheel. causing the number of fatal crashes for 18-year-olds to increase. And I would also like to point out that more drivers boost the economy. So keeping the driving age at 16 will result in 16 and 17-year-olds buying more gas, insurance, cars, and car modifications. So if we make it so 16-year-olds cannot drive, then they won't be able to go out and buy anything, whether it's like movie tickets or food or clothes. So if this law were to pass, it won't decrease the number of accidents that teens are getting into, but it will hurt our economy.